Hello everyone and welcome to Farming Simulator 25. I've just downloaded and installed the game, so I'm eager to get started, and I thought we'd start by taking a look at some of the menus and different functions within the game. So, main menu, lovely backdrop that we've got here of the farmhouse, the barn, the fields, the mountains. I think it's really going to showcase what kind of terrains and areas that we're going to be working in Farm Sim 25. The menu itself doesn't look too different to FS22, but we'll take a quick look. In the career section, we've got our usual place to select a new save or load up a previous save. As you can see here, I started on Riverbend Springs just to take an initial look. Now, second in the list is the multiplayer section, and here we can join a game, which enables us to search for all of the online multiplayer games are available. We can search and filter by game name, or by which map, or language, or maximum players allowed, and some other filters that are here. I know that Nordic Farming and I have our usual multiplayer fun planned. And in Create a Game, you can select a previous save game to load up and have your friends join you, or you can select a new slot and choose a map and the game style and start from there. Now, renting a dedicated server is a whole other subject. I don't think I'm going to rent one quite yet in FS25, but when I do, I'll be sure to make a video about setting it up. Next in the list is downloadable content, where we spend most of our time, and here we can really see the transformation of the menu and theme. It's very lime green and black, which is quite nice. And here we can select different categories for mods. We've got categories, so gameplay, packages, drivables, soil cultivation, seeding, combines, forage harvesting, grassland and forestry, and then placeables. We'll take an inspect on that at some point. But then we have other things such as best. I imagine this will be the highest rated mods. The most downloaded, that is self-explanatory. The latest, meaning the latest and greatest that has come to ModHub. And then recommended. This is a new one on me, and we'll wait to see what appears here later. Down the left hand side you can see installed, that is empty for us at the moment. Then update, which mods need an update. DLCs, we have the Macdon pack already installed. And then extra content, this is where you can download specific machinery and items from Giants and unlock them within here. So if you wanted to install a mod, and this is on PC, it's as simple as locating the mod you want. We'll go for this truck that's here, the FH16 6x4 Palfinger Epsilon M112Z. And it's as easy as going down to the install down here, clicking confirm, and then it should appear in the installed section. Now moving on down to achievements, we haven't got a lot of these of course because we've just started, but this is where some of the badges and achievements will be collected, 45 to get. Now on to options. This has changed quite a little bit since FS22, but in the top tab we have general settings where we can choose language, input controls and sound. I had to play around with this earlier to get set up and get my wheel and pedals and my side panel sorted. Display settings. This is where I have landed in terms of graphic settings and what I can get out of my graphics card. But there's a simple overview here in terms of what you can choose, and then an advanced screen here with the different draw distances, render quality, the light quality and other settings, the post-processing and so forth. Controls. Now this is always a finicky bit to set up as you get going, but you can set 2 key bindings for your keyboard, keys for your mouse, and then I have got the side panel and my steering wheel and pedals here. And then we have device-specific settings where you can set the dead zones and sensitivities. I've got everything at 1% dead zone, 100% sensitivity, and that's for the side panel and also the steering wheel I've got, which is the Logitech G920. Credits is simply the credit roll, and then quit takes you out of the game. But let's get started and take a look so we can have a look at some of the in-game menus. I'm going to load up this save. Oh, I will select this mod while we're here because I've recently installed it. and we'll get started. As you can see, we get a nice backdrop of Riverbend Springs. Shows us how much money we have and the time we have spent in it already. The usual percentage wheel on the bottom right hand side, along with a green bar that also helps to visualize the loading. 100%, let's get started. Now, when you first start a save game, one of the first things you'll do is select how you want your character to look. And this hasn't changed too much since FS22. We have a preview screen to the right and to the left where you can select the different types of characteristics for your player. You can also change your name by clicking on Change Name, typing a new name and confirming it. Now down the left hand side is where you can change all the various characteristics of your player, from facial type to hairstyles to beard types, and you can also change the colour by selecting a hairstyle and then selecting colour. Then there's the various outfits, pre-formed outfits. A lot of these do look similar to FS22, and then you can do a more customizable selection by choosing some of the tops and bottoms to really range what your character looks like. Boots and footwear, hats and headgear, gloves, and then sunglasses. There we go, quite the quirky chap. Now, once you have chosen what your character looks like, you'll arrive in the game, and we will take a look at Riverbend Springs later. But for this, I'm just going to focus on the game menus. Tabbing Escape will take you to the game menu, and as you can see, the map has completely transformed for FS25. We've got a rather more colourful and cartoony looking map. We've got the ability on the map section to choose between crop types, where we've got a very long list and some of the new crops that we want to see and all the colour coding that goes with them, and you can select and deselect the crops you do and don't want to see. Next we have growth, and similar, you can select what you want to and what you don't want to see in terms of information. Soil composition, yeah, very similar. We've got weed, fertilised, liming, rolling, mulched, stones and watered. And watered is an interesting addition for FS25. Hotspots, we can toggle vehicles, combines, trailers, tools and workers. And then various points on the map for tip stations, loading stations, productions, animals, contracts and others. Now the crop calendar. This has merged with the weather tab from FS22 where it was separate. So in one screen we can see the crop calendar and weather in one. Starting in early spring and then going all the way to the end of winter in February. It shows us what can be planted and what can be harvested in what month. And then down the bottom we can see the weather for the day and then also the next 6 months into the future. Now on the animal tabs you can see your pastures. As you can see, we've got a cow pasture here, and this tells you the status of your cows, how many you've got and at what age they are, and actually how much they are worth, which is very handy. Then the information of the pen, their productivity and what food and supplies they have got. One interesting addition down here is the meadow, where we can see we've got 40% meadow, so this is where the cows can naturally graze. On track screen, and we have two sections, new and active. We don't have any active contracts at the moment, but down here you can see it is separated by different types of contracts. We've got baling, deadwood, fertilizing and harvesting. Deadwood is interesting as it looks like that has been brought in from the FS22 Premium Edition or Premium Expansion as a forestry orientated contract. We have our usual different characters, Noah, Katie, David and Walter. And then the contract information on the right, how much we are going to get paid, if we need to borrow the equipment to do the contract, and what's handy is we get a nice minimap snippet of which field the contract is in. Production chains is next, and as you can see we've got a separation between what's available and what is owned, so it seems like there still is the concept of owning productions, and we have all of the productions that are available in Riverbed Springs. There are quite a few, new and old, and we'll explore those as we get into a series. But I'm hoping that we will be able to utilise these without owning them, or perhaps an additional charge. We will see how it works in-game. Prices, and this is where another merge of previous tabs in FS22 have merged. We have our crop prices and how much they are worth, and also where we can sell them. But what's nice and visual is we have a graph depicting the year or time of the year where we can get the best price for them. That did exist in FS22, but this looks a lot cleaner and just seems to be a lot more visual in this screen. Now what has merged is we can see our vehicles as well. I think this was previously in the garage section in FS22, but here we can see what vehicles we own, what license plate they have, if any, their age, working hours, condition, the leasing cost if we've leased them, and their remaining value. Same for the hand tools, and then within finances we can see our daily dose of what we spent and what we haven't, which is very interesting starting out. I'm expecting this to be in the red once we do get into a series. And then a statistics tab where we can see all things around field metrics, worked hectares, cultivated, sown, how much time we've spent doing each type of job, and then things around vehicle usages and materials usage as well. And lastly, we've got the settings section where we can save game or go into the game settings. And here we have 3 tabs around the general game settings, so we can pause the game, change the save interval, our time scale, the economic difficulty, turn traffic on or off, and then we can do all the settings around seasons, turning it off, how many days per month we have a season, or the fixed visual month. And also we can turn snow on and off, which is different from FS22. We've got the same crop destruction, periodic ploughing, fieldstone, lime, weeds, but this time we have disaster destruction, and we have heard about hail and tornadoes, which will be interesting to witness. And then vehicle controls, where we can change the dirt, the engine starting, stop and go braking, fill limits, and fuel usage. And the AI worker settings as to whether they can automatically buy or if they need to top up of the various items. Second tab, we've got our general settings on whether we want to show the help window, colorblind mode, and then the interactive zone markers or info triggers or field info. That is always good for the realism. Units, we can select our currency and whether we're going by imperial or metric measuring. Radio, camera, and input controls, which you can set as per your liking. And down the bottom is sound, which you can also tailor, particularly important if you are recording. Last tab is controls, and this is where I spent most of my time getting things set up how I like them. So similar to the start menu, we've got the keyboard, the mouse, the side panel, and the wheel if you have those devices. So that nicely covers the 3 tabs: game settings, general settings, and controls, followed by the help section where you can get all the guides, tips, and tricks on starting out crops, animals, forestry, and all sorts of aspects of the game. Now I've gone back to the map because I want to get to the store and see the store page, and to teleport to places it's as easy as clicking on the icon and tapping visit to teleport. Here we go. And if we enter here, we can see the store page where we've got the top left-hand tab going through all the brands. This is where you can select a brand and easily see what equipment is available for that. Next is the vehicle tab, and it seems like we have a lot more categories and sections to lay things out a little bit easier. We've got our drivables up the top, followed by loaders, trailers, soil cultivation, seeding, yield improvements, combine harvesting, forage harvesting, grassland, baling, root crops, vegetables, special crops, grapes and olives, animals and forestry, and then finally miscellaneous and objects. Should be a lot easier to find things going forward. Next tab, we've got our various packs, and this is where things are grouped together by crop type or by purpose. So that is always quite handy to find specific tools for the job. Used vehicle sale. Now, we did have this in FS22, and it's good to see this still here, although did not make too much use of it. But here again we go, we have a selection of vehicles that are discounted if we wish to purchase them. Handy. Finally, we have other, where we can see the animal dealer, where we have a tab to buy or sell. So here is where we can buy animals to put into the pens that we have available, or we can choose to sell from the pens where we have animals already. Now, in the buy section, you can see we have varying different types of cows and their age, 0 months, 6 months, 18 months, and it looks like water buffalo are looped in under cows, which is nice to see. But of course, we have pigs, sheep and goats, horses, and chickens, which we can buy if we have a pen available. We have the wardrobe section next, which is what we've seen already, and then the construction view. Now, this is looking very different to FS22. We can hover over the land and navigate as we could before, spin around and see different things, zoom in and zoom out. And down the left hand side we have buildings, so we can choose sheds, silos, silo extensions, constructibles, containers, tools, farmhouses, and back to sheds. Or we can go down to factories and choose between the factories we can purchase, selling points, greenhouses, cultivation, which is things like our olives and our grapevines, or we can go into generators, things that are going to earn us money for a upfront fee. The animal section is next, where we can choose between the pens of our cows, horses, pigs, sheep, chickens, bees, and others. Oh yes, we will have to get a doghouse. Next is for fences, lights, and others. And the last view is for sculpting. Now, I will probably do a video in its own right for the construction page and all the entities around it. But the next tab is for farmland, and this is where we can go into the map and visit what we own and what we don't. So you can see highlighted by green what we do own, and if we wanted to purchase somewhere else, we can click on a section of land and click buy. We don't have enough money, so we're going to have to wait until we've earned enough. Now, you can get to this from the normal escape menu, and it's in the top tab next to hotspots, soil composition, and so forth. And lastly, the vehicles tab, which takes us to the prices screen where we were before and shows us all the information on our current vehicles. And there we go. That has been a short overview of the FS25 menu system and more. I will be doing some short playthroughs of each map, starting as a new farmer, which will be exciting. So if you want to join me for that, please stick around for more content, and there will be some giveaways in the future as well. If you'd like to support my channel, then please purchase FS25 using the partner code Artemusprime. I hope you found this useful, and all there's left to say is I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers all, bye bye.